Most of you already know that Suzanne and Chad lived in Margaritaville for 7 years. We still have a vacation home there. Also, many people know that we've sold 65% of all the resales in Margaritaville history. So what do people not know? Most people don't know that we also manage 45 properties for long-term rental in Margaritaville, cottages and villas, mostly 1 to 4 bedrooms with a few exceptions of larger ones. But that is something that a lot of you aren't even aware is possible. Most people think that they have to own in Margaritaville to live there, or they have to rent from the hotel or a third-party company in order to do short-term rentals. But that's actually not the case. You can live in Margaritaville without owning there through long-term rentals. So what are the things that people love about living in Margaritaville? Well, one, included in rent, you have your cable, you have your internet, you also have your landscaping, your irrigation for your landscaping, pest control, also trash pickup, and you also get access to Sunset Walk. You can also buy tickets to Island H2O Water Park. And also, if you have leases that are longer than 90 days, you also get a Fins Up Beach Club membership. So that means that none of the amenities are off the table. You have access to the entire resort if you do leases that are 90 days or longer. So that's all very appealing, and it's living in a resort lifestyle. It's living on vacation every day. And I can attest to someone who has lived there that it is a great place to be, and it's nice to wake up and see all the colors, the people walking their dogs. You know, many of the owners are pet friendly, not all, but a lot of them are. So feel free to apply with your dog, with your cat, and we can find a place for you. The location is excellent. So right there, you're very close to Disney World, and they're just building and building and building around that area. There's a First Watch that's coming soon. One of my personal favorites is Lazy Dog across the street. And also out of the back gate, right across the street is Formosa Gardens Winery, which is actually a great place for breakfast, brunch, even if you don't drink wine. It's just the food is great, the ambiance is great, and we actually love going there on a Sunday, on a Saturday, or even during the week. So check it out if you haven't been. So some of you might say, well, how much is it? That is actually a great question. When you're renting long-term, rental rates are favorable, because short-term rentals, let's say the same property might cost you $200 to $400, depending on the size of the cottage or the villa per night, where if you look at the monthly rates, it equates to about $100 to $200 per night. So you're actually getting about a 50% discount off what the retail rates are. So it is favorable. Long-term rental rates, you generally get a discount off those from short-term. So that's something to think about. Also, Florida sales tax and Osceola County tourist tax is 13.5%. And that gets paid on every single place that you rent. If it's a hotel, if it's short-term rental, it's something that gets added onto your bill. If you do a lease that is 6 months and 1 day or longer, you no longer have to pay that 13.5% sales tax. The government does not collect it on leases that are greater than 6 months. So that's another savings for you. So a lot of people in the beginning would ask us, you know, is it just gonna be snowbirds, people coming down, you know, during the winter or whatever? And what we've realized is that is part of the clientele. However, there's a ton of people that wanna live in Margaritaville, from traveling nurses. We get a lot of people who are building new homes. Their home will be ready for 6, 7, 8 months. A lot of times that might get extended as well. So they'd rather live there fully furnished in a resort. There's also people who maybe are going through life changes, relocations. Also, we see a lot of that. And honestly, even locals that just really love the resort lifestyle and love living on vacation every day. So we get a lot of locals who actually are interested in living there. Also, a lot of people who are college students. So it's really all over the place, and there is a market for it. And I'd say about 10% of the people live in the resort now, and then there's about 10% long-term rentals. So, you know, you're not alone. You'll have neighbors that also live there as well. So it's not just short-term rentals as your neighbors. And also, of course, you have the owners that come from time to time and owners that have a second homes in the resort. So the properties that we manage are generally around 1 to 4 bedrooms with a few exceptions. So we have cottages, which are the single family homes, and we also have villas, which are the townhomes. They're all island inspired, Key West, Jimmy Buffett themed. So you're gonna have the bright colors, and they just feel very fun and tropical. And all of the furnishings are generally high end in terms of quality. The beds are hotel luxury style beds. So it isn't usually something that the owner just purchased. It was a package that Margaritaville had them get, generally speaking. So those are things that you want to think about, because when you're renting a house that's furnished, you want to make sure you're having furniture that's quality and also a comfortable place for you to rest your head at night. So now I want to talk a little bit about an owner's perspective as why they would want to do long-term rentals as opposed to short-term rentals. Now, it's not for everybody. Some people want to do short-term rentals because they want to be able to come whenever they want in between the renters. So obviously, if you have a renter in there for 6 months, you're not going to be able to just show up at your place and stay whenever you want in between guests. However, a lot of owners really like it for a lot of reasons. One, it's a steady income. You know exactly how much you're going to get every month. We try to minimize the gaps in between guests. We market the property. Generally, we give a renter 45 to 60 days in advance to let us know if they want to extend. Obviously, there's exceptions to every rule. It's a people business. You have to work with people. But generally, we're trying to see if they're going to extend at that point. And we're always looking for new renters, even when your place is rented. Also, you're going to be holding a security deposit, which makes it a lot less risky. Generally, that deposit's about 1 month's rent, with some exceptions. You also have background checks, credit checks, eviction checks. We always run proof of income. We get a full application. We do the checks on all adult occupants. As an owner, you can also charge some additional fees for pets, such as a pet deposit, non-refundable, or if it's a service animal, you can't do that. But generally, you're holding a security deposit, and that's pretty safe for any repairs or any extra cleaning needs due to pets that are in the property. They're always subject to landlord approval. It is a pet-friendly resort, so I do suggest that our owners do accept pets, but there's always some exceptions, and I understand that some owners have sensitivity and they like to stay in their property from time to time. So that's something that we do take into consideration. So it's really good to have options, right? You can short-term rent your property, you can use it as a vacation home, or you can rent long-term. Some people are hybrids, they'll do short-term, but if they get a long-term renter, then they'll block it for those dates. So it's very good to have all these different options for your property. If the short-term rental market goes, down or it's slow for a little bit, you can have a long-term tenant in there. So it's different strokes for different folks, but it's really great for tenants love living there. Owners love having the long-term rentals. We love managing them. We're known as the go-to people. We're really the only people who really focus on long-term rentals in that resort. All the other property managers are focused on short-term rentals. So if you know somebody who needs a place to live, furnished, someone who's in between, someone who just wants to get out of the snow for a couple months, someone who's building a house, somebody who's moving, relocation, give us a call. We always have stuff available. Not all of our stuff is listed online. We don't want to flood the market with every listing we have. So we try to put a few up, when they're coming up for renewal, but we always have stuff that is not necessarily listed online. We would love to get you or someone a rental in Margaritaville today. We are the experts in the area. Our contact information is below. Reach out for more information.